kick off with you?
Yes, I'm happy. I'm happy to welcome everybody. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. I feel very honoured. There's so many people here, and obviously the reason we're here is to talk about the owner representative register. Something we're launching towards the end of the year, and we just wanted to basically introduce you to the concept, what it's all about, answer some questions, get some feedback. I'm assuming from Andrew's excitement of seeing so many of you that some of you have done the training and some of the courses already with LH and the Crew Academy, so that's a good thing to see. But I think we're gonna start off, I think, with just sort of introducing a little bit about what the register's about, where it's come from, why it's been formed. And I think between Hein and I, we're going to give you a little overview of that. And if you've got questions, then obviously please let us know. So I don't know, Naya, if you can start us off with the slide. And sorry, I should have introduced some of the people on the panel here, but I think a lot of you probably know who everybody is. And as we go, we'll introduce ourselves. And my name's Joey Mean. I'm basically representing IAMI, the guest program, and the Superyacht Alliance, which we're going to talk about in a second. My partner in crime is Hein. I think he's there still. I can't see everybody here now, but I think we'll do introductions as we go. So what is the Yacht Owner Representative Program? It was developed over a couple of years with a group of professionals, which were including owner representatives, training providers, the SYBAS, which is the Shipbuilders Association. And it was basically driven by SYBAS in the early days because we were seeing potentially some practices that weren't working very well for the shipyards and or the owner. And we needed to do something to support those in that particular role. So the initiative came from SYBAS in principle, and we worked with, as I say, a group over a period of time to develop a 4-course program. But we'll come to that in a bit. I think first we need to talk about who the Alliance are. So I don't know if we can move on to the next slide, Maya, that would be helpful. So the Alliance basically was set up as a group of associations. And the reason behind this was we started to see potentially some practices in our sector that weren't really aligning with what we all felt we wanted to do, and that was professionalism. And I think we like the little quote that's there about what is a professional. We feel it's something that we need, that we really want to try and work around, is pushing more professional practices in our sector. And alongside good judgment, skills, behaviours, comes training. And I think we can't expect professionals to have the knowledge, judgment and behaviour. The expectation is all based around what they know, and we can all learn. Everything we've done in life, we've learned. And this is really where we start from. So we are approaching this from a training side. It's to upskill, empower, and also to make sure that people are doing the right things, and generally looking at professionalising the industry across the board. So coming on to the Alliance slide. So the Alliance was based on 3 main associations that represent the industry in various subsectors of the industry. So MEBA, SYBAS and IAMI set up as founding members of the Alliance, and we obviously have other associations currently joining. As you can see there on the right hand side, you can see all the logos of all the big players that represent various, as I say, subsectors of our industry. And we basically were looking at what's happening to the sector. Well, certainly it's growing, we all know that. So with the increased number of industry, with an increased number of boats, there's an increase of expectations. We're also far more exposed than we've ever been before as far as media and the outside world is concerned. So again, we need to look at what are we doing on the inside and how is that being displayed and promoted on the outside. So we really needed to start taking a little bit of control from within the sector. And we want to do that before potentially anybody else took over and started telling us what we should be doing. So we're trying to professionalize. So the Alliance isn't anything to do with taking over individuals or activities. It's about setting standards and professionalizing what we do. Most of this comes from, as I said earlier, looking at the education options and what's available out there. If you have a look at the middle column there, we can see that, you know, although we've got associations that basically represent subsectors, not all individuals and professionals, as we like to be called, are part of an association, and also not all professions have an association. So again, we're trying to put something out there for everybody, and if it's not available, we're trying to create a platform for it to be discussed and to be available for everybody. Training programs are also not always recognized, and that's something, again, we need to start doing as an industry-led activity. And industry-led is something that's quite common in certain sectors. Our sector needs to adapt it better. And so with the owner representative program, we're looking at it being quite linear to being an industry-led program. And it's industry-led through associations like SYBAS, IAMI, and others. And often the training quality is not necessarily guaranteed. That's something we see, and certainly I do in my profession, working for an Maritime Education Association. Accreditation is a big ticket on training providers. They have to jump through a lot of hoops to get it. There's a huge value in that with regards to an investment from a student, and there's also value from that with regards to an industry that it provides for. So again, we're looking at quality of accredited training. So looking at the associations, what we're doing is we're basically aligning our efforts, and we're looking at it to build a better industry, to facilitate better careers, to facilitate and underpin better practices. And we do all that by supporting individuals like yourselves who work within the sector. Within it, we're doing qualification panels, the register for professionals, and the first one we're starting with is the owner rep. And obviously we're addressing the career development paths as well. But we'll probably talk about that more another time in another webinar. But for now, we're going to concentrate on the owner rep, obviously at the register there. Can we go on to the next slide, please, Maya? There we go. I think the first thing we start with is, what is an owner's rep? I mean, Hein, please do feel free to jump in at any point here.
I can do that, yeah, thank you.
Because this spaghetti is yours.
Yeah, so my name is Hein Velema. I was asked in the beginning by SYBAS to start the Yacht Owners Representative Program, and now also the register. In the meantime, we have set up the Superyacht Alliance, and I'm now working as a Secretary General for the Superyacht Alliance. And I'm very much involved in this whole program. We started with interviewing actually owners reps and shipyards to ask about the position of the owners rep. And what most people told me is that there's a misunderstanding about the position of an owner's rep. Very many people think it's a technical position, a technical job. And if you approach it a little bit more negative, it's a technical guy with an opinion. Well, as you can see here, we see it differently. We see it much more as a managerial position. The owner's rep is in between the owner and the shipyard, but both the owner and the shipyard are not single people. Those are also complex organizations where all kinds of things happen. And the owner's rep is normally, especially on a bigger project, not working on his own, but with a whole team. And the owner's rep has his own suppliers, etc. So there's a lot of complexity there, which requires a lot from the owner's rep in terms of management, communication, and organization. And that's where the program is about. Maybe we can go to the next slide. I've seen in the list of people that are here today that a lot of you, but I don't know most of you, but at least a lot of you know already something about the Yacht Owners Representative Program with the 4 different courses, because they've been part of that. That's on the left side of this schedule. So what you see is there have been 4 different courses developed, and we will go through that a little bit later today. That together is the Owners Representative Program. But the original goal is not so much to train people. The original goal is to set up a register, and that's what we are now doing. So the register is a list of persons, so not companies, but individual professionals, a list of professionals, which is a public list. It's like a website where you can see hopefully tens, if not hundreds of people that are owners and representatives. And that gives the owner an option to choose from. So he can choose a qualified owner's representative. And there are some other information on that list, so he can make a choice. So there's some language skills, which might be interesting for owners, of course, but also location and what type of experience. This register will work as a website, which we will launch later as soon as we want to launch that in November. And by then we hope to have 50 or 60 owners reps registered. And once we have the register, it's not only a place for owners to find qualified owners reps, it's also a community of people coming together and share information and share experiences. We also developed a code of conduct. So as you've seen earlier, it's not only about the knowledge, but it's also how you behave and how people expect you to behave, both the owners, but also the shipyards and other people in the industry. So that code of conduct covers that. And what we also hope to do is not to keep it as a static register, but also to offer modules or courses or seminars for owners reps where they have a continuous learning program. And that can be about new technologies, about sustainability, but maybe also about communication skills, etc. So it should become a group, a community of people where we offer them services, but at the same time, they're also together as a group of professionals. What you see on top of that is what we call the Professional Council, and that's a committee of people, again, a committee of professionals, of experienced and respected owners representatives, and as a kind of self-regulatory body above this whole owners representative register. And they will also be involved in letting people into the register, and they will also review the courses to see if they have to need to be updated, and etc. So that they are kind of managing a committee above this register. Can we go to the next slide? So how do we want to work? We are starting now. Today, I think is a good example what we want to do. We want to inform people of the register, and we want to promote it, and we want to ask them to join and to apply for the register. We developed some forms. We developed some forms where you can apply for the register. One form is some basic information about yourself. The other form is about your experience, and that specifically your involvement in new build projects. Then we will have an acceptance procedure, which is done by the Professional Council. And what we will do is we will verify the experience. So we will try to find out, with your help, of course, because you will give us some information on that we can verify that you were actually involved in those projects and in that responsibility. The reason for that is that we want to have a validation process. So if owners are choosing somebody with a certain type of experience, that they can be sure that that person actually had that experience. And then once accepted, there will be the register. And the register for, maybe some of you know that, there's a register for maritime coating inspectors, the RMCI, which is a little bit similar to this. The register for coating inspectors is set up also with SYBAS and ICOMIA a few years ago, and that was developed to have people trained and qualified to accept the paint job on a boat. So before that, there were people with maybe 20 years of experience, and they came to the shipyard and said, well, this is good enough, or this paint job is not good enough. But exactly why and how it worked was not completely clear. And then the shipyards have decided to develop a standard, and that was also in collaboration with the paint suppliers. So they developed a standard how to measure the quality of the paint of a superyacht. And second, to develop a training how you then can apply that standard and report on the quality of the paint. So that there is a standard, a professional standard again, about validating, verifying the quality of the paint. This has been very helpful. So today you can see in the contracts on new build projects that if you ever have an issue on paint and you want to have somebody from the outside as a person to come with their opinion on the paint, it needs to be a person who is actually qualified. So the qualification is put in the contracts of the SYBAS members, but not only the SYBAS members, also the other shipyards, where they say if you appoint somebody, it needs to be a qualified person. And that's a similar thing we'd like to do also with the register. We want to have the SYBAS members to recommend owners to appoint a qualified owner's representative with a reference to the register. So the register will be important to the outside world and something hopefully you can be proud of that you are in that register. So today we start with promoting, or actually we did it 10 days ago when we were in Antibes at the
IBA event.
So we were at the IAMI event. Yeah, I'm getting a phone call, so I have to turn it off. And there we had the IAMI event where we already announced it. But I think today we actually have a group of hopefully potential owners representatives or active owners representatives that want to join the register. You're helping me, Joey. Is there anything
I am. So we're basically looking in November to actually put the register live, but that's based on us getting ideally about 60 plus owner representatives on our list so that we have something to populate the register with. 50% of those, we're looking at 30 minimum owner representatives who are very experienced. So those of you who are here and in our presence now, if this is something that's appealing to you and you have got that experience, then please let Hein know so we can go through the application process with you. But the idea is that for the Superyacht Forum in Amsterdam, which is in November, it's a Monday, Tuesday this year. I think it's 18th, 19th, if I'm right. We're basically launching this as a live register. So that's our aim. But again, as we say, it's subject to getting enough people that have come through the verification process, application and then verification process to be accepted onto the register.
Maya, can you do one more click? Well, the owners of the Superyacht Forum were very friendly to invite the first 25 yacht owners representatives to the Superyacht Forum. So that is, I think, a nice gesture. So we are very proud to announce it as a special offer for the first 25 owners reps with experience, because that's what they want to have at the yacht owners at the Superyacht Forum. They will invite them to join the forum for free, which is I think, a 570 euros fee this year. So I think it's a nice gesture. And it's important to have owners reps there. Not only it's nice for us to have owners reps around us when we are launching the register and the website, but it's also important for all kind of discussions that are being held at the Superyacht Forum, that we have the voice of the owners reps there. So it's also important to have a good Superyacht Forum, that we have good professionals there. So it is interesting for the Superyacht Forum to have owners representatives there. So it's a sword that cuts on both sides.
Thank you, Hein.
Well, this is more or less our presentation of the register. Andrew, are there things you want to mention about maybe the course, or do we do a Q&A first on this part?
Yes, Hein, should we just do a nice Q&A and get some questions out of the way from some of our 30 attendees, and then we can talk about the course for those of you, probably 15, 20 of you haven't done the program. Then we can discuss the course. So I'm sure Jack's got a question. Put him on the spot, considering he's got a YOR behind him. Jack, tell us why you did the program and how you feel the registry is going to benefit you, the industry, and others who are like you.
Well, hello everyone. So yeah, I've been operating under Yacht Owners Representative. I did the SYBAS Yacht Owners Representative course, and I got the accreditation in December last year. From doing module 1 with Martin, who I see is here as well. Did I see him somewhere?
I'm up here.
And Peter. That was a great leadership and management sector of the course. And then following on with Andrew, and I see a couple of people on here. Baz, I've seen you. Yep. So that was the first inaugural one. But honestly, since coming away with the accreditation, promoting the accreditation, and supporting the whole SYBAS and IAMI guest initiative, I'm gaining some very good traction from clients, shipyards, and moving forward. So I mean, I think it's a great initiative. This the whole YORP program came in 6 months after I sort of generally jumped away from new build captain's roles and new build projects. Very disappointed with the owners reps that I was generally working with in the new build projects. And it just came at a good time because it went through with the same beliefs that I was moving forward with. So yeah, and obviously the register was spoken about during the YORP program. I'm glad it's now going ahead. And I think it's going to benefit a lot with the general way that new build contract agreements are moving forward. If not many people have seen many new build contract agreements, there's a whole section, clauses within these contract agreements regarding owners' representatives or buyers' representatives, with a huge mention of that role. And the amount of, say, non-qualified, or I can't say qualified because there's some, generally very experienced captains, engineers that are owners' representatives within the industry. Don't necessarily need to get the accreditation, even though I advise them to. But yeah, it's a very good forward initiative for the industry, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Thanks, Jack. Maya's got a hand up. If anyone else wants to ask, just put your hand up. In the captions. Just put your hand up, and we'll come to you. Maya.
I was just going to say we do have a couple of questions that were asked in advance. So we have from Mark, has asked, what are the full benefits of being listed on the register? And also, what will be the annual cost of being listed on the register?
Do you want this one, Hein?
Oh, I was waiting for you to answer that.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah. So we have, well, I think the benefits to start, well, maybe we start with the fees because that's the easy one. the fees, there's a, I need to know the numbers by heart. 65 euros application fee. And we ask that application fee or entrance fee because we have to do some work on the verification of all the experiences. So we will make phone calls to shipyards, etc. So that's the verification process. And then there's 130 euros annually to be member of the register, which, by the way, then also includes membership of the Superyacht Alliance. So as you have seen maybe in one of the earlier sheets, the Superyacht Alliance is a group of associations that have put it up, but we also want to have the individual professionals being part of that alliance. We will set up several registers. This is the first one, and people that are member of this register will then also be member of the Superyacht Alliance. So they will be involved with all the other organizations and in this industry. So you're really being part of a bigger effort to make this industry more professional. Other benefits are, of course, it will help you to promote yourself towards owners as a professional owner's representative. You can show that you're qualified. If you have to present yourself towards an owner, and he will compare you with others who have not done, who are not part of this. They can't show anything that they are actually have done some training and are part of a program. You also not only part of a training program if you have done that, but also there's of course the code of conduct, which give owners more the feeling that it's a serious institute that makes sure that that we work professionally all together. It will help you to get more training or educational events where you can learn more. It will be also a community where you can share experiences with other owners reps. So we hopefully it will help you to develop yourself as a professional in this industry, to support you in your development, but also in your presentation towards the owner. And last but not least, it also is an option then for shipyards to refer to the register where you're then part of, to say, now, if you're looking for a qualified owner's rep, why don't you look at this list? Because here you can find qualified people. And remember, it's the initiative of the shipyards to set this up. They often get, and I've been working for a shipyard for many years, and we at that moment we got quite frequently we got a question from owners: how do I find a good owner's rep? And the shipyards then, or they refer to one or two people that have worked with them in the last 2 or 3 years, but they don't really have a list of people. So they will use this list to refer to say, well, if you're looking for someone, why don't you look at this list? Because that's a good reference to find someone. So I think it can be very useful for owners reps to be on that list.
Thanks, Hein. So we're confirmed with 65 euros for application, 35 euros for annual membership. So
135, Andrew.
135. So we're 200 euros in to apply and subject to approval to be part of the YIS. And then Joey, that's 135 a year every year.
Yes, that's an annual fee for a professional register, for an individual fee. And it does give access then to any other sort of working groups or activities or committees that the Alliance has going. So if individuals have interests in other activities within the Alliance, they can obviously be part of any of that as a member.
And we also will, by the way, the membership starts in 25, so you don't pay for 24. You start to pay in 25. And we will try, but there is no promise there. But we have an intention to get some benefits also for the people that are in the register. For example, going to the Superyacht Forum for a reduced price. We tried to negotiate something, and what we got out of it is 25 free tickets. So that's a good start.
Wonderful.
but we will not stop after this.
Okay.
That's something I cannot promise. But what we will do is we will organize, I think, one other event, maybe in the south of France or Italy or so, to have another get together, and then probably also a webinar type of thing.
Yeah.
But
I
the
think
support-
the idea is once we've got the community together, is we can then start facilitating annual events for owner reps that are part of the register, as a bit of a networking and social as well. And also, as Hein pointed out earlier, if there's any opportunities for additional professional development at any point, then that would be something that would be targeted towards those on the register as well, and notification given as well.
Right. Thanks, Jerry. Thanks, Hein. Maya, what's the next question?
So we've got a couple in the chat here. So one about the verification process with regards to the owners. Code of conduct regards a two-way agreement with their reps, question mark.
I don't get that completely, sorry.
I think they're asking if the owners, what about the code of conduct that the owner's providing the owner rep rather than the other. The code of conduct in this instance is for getting onto the register. I'm not sure any of us can comment about a code of conduct. Should be asking the owner to sign.
Well,
Yeah.
that would
Good idea.
I'm very much in favor for that. Yeah. But if we can keep that to one page, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Try to develop a code of conduct for the owners reps, quite compact, with 5 major points that are divided in a few sub-points. But it's funny to talk about it, but it's serious, of course. We all try to be professional, and we need to be professional. But we should not forget that the owners, they are not in there as a professional. They are more or less the consumers in our industry, and they are not educated as such, and they don't have a code of conduct accepted. But of course, what is relevant is that if we describe, and that you can see that also in the course, especially course now I have to say, right, 42. We discuss also the role of the owner's representative in terms of educating the owner, and I think that's an important role. Of course, the owner's representative is not the only person in our industry with that task, but we see it as a task of an owner's rep to educate an owner what you can expect from other people, including owners reps, but also shipyard crew, captains, and so forth. Maya.
Thanks, Hein. There's a big question here from Charles. What are the driving reasons for starting the register? You said because of the increase in boats, crews, and public exposure, and the need to assert some control and professionalism. I ask this as I think Jack said that there are some very experienced people that don't have accreditation that are reps. What harm is that route to be a rep causing? Will owners want to use the register stuff? If I go back 15 years ago, there were 35, 40 pursers in the industry. We created the purser course. There are now over 900 accredited pursers. Virtually no boat will hire a purser on a big boat without them being fully certified and on the purser registry. It's the same thing. What we're trying to do is build something long-term around professionalism. There will always be 1/3 who will jump on this with verve and with gusto. 1/3 will watch and observe and make a decision, and 1/3 will moan. Hein's role and Joey's role at the association is to vet and approve owner reps who are highly experienced. We're trying to build a community of like-minded individuals like Jack and 9 or 10 others on this call who've already been through their program with us, and our aim is to take small steps in building a professional registry. At the end of the day, as I said, it will always be a challenge. We are a year and a bit already through with this program since it started, and we will accredit and put people on the registry as and when they either come through the programs or apply to the registry. And I'm sure that we'll see a flurry, as we did 10, 11, 12 years ago with pursers, of, you know, very highly qualified pursers saying, I'm going to come and get my certificate, or you know, just get on the purser registry anyway. So I think it benefits everyone to have a professional registry. Marley's big hand up from you.
Can I just add something?
Joey,
Sorry,
yes.
before
Sorry,
sorry
Joey.
to butt in, Marley. So I just want to very quickly add something, because we have got, and I think this probably answers a little bit of Christian's question coming up, because it's linked, is you know, we're looking at you know, Charles is asking us about, you know, if people who've got experience but haven't done the done the courses. We have got a grandfather, as we've called it, route into it, and grandfathering is basically recognizing prior experience and value that experience. You know, when at that time there wasn't any training available. Clearly there's training available now, so the route going forward, and as Andrew's nicely put it with the pursers, we've seen exactly that happen, is we've got the provision for the training now for that particular role. So going forward, the generations to come, they've got a professional route, a training route to follow. But obviously those who have done their time, if you like, and they've been out there on the field and in a and have that substantial experience within the new build as an owner rep, as we define it, so it's all very much within that box. You know, there's no need to complete all the courses. We are suggesting that course 1 has to be done at some point, even if you're grandfathered into the register through your own experience. And the rationale behind that is very clear, is that the course number 1 is all about leadership, communication, and understanding fully the exact extent of the role of the owner rep as it stands today, which might be slightly different from when you started. So it is a very important part of the whole training. And we do believe that because we're seeing more boats being built and more individuals getting involved in the process of a build, that having those skill sets as a leader with the communication is really vital to that role. So that is going to be something that is going to be required, but not the full course if you have evidence of a full experience. Yeah.
And by the
Thank
way,
you. Sorry, Marlies, to jump in front of you there.
yeah. By the way, that course, people can already join the register, and that course can be done later, because what we really want to have is especially people that are experienced and have a good standing record to also join the register already now, because we need also a register with the good guys to say. So it is important to have experienced people in the registers. So we're welcoming people to apply.
Thanks, Marley's.
Yeah, hi everybody. Thanks for organizing this, guys. Very useful. Hein, it's also been initiated by the Yacht to set something like this up. What is their input in it? I'm currently on a build in Italy, and it is very hard to even get access to the boat as the owner's rep and as the owner's captain. So I'm just wondering, like, how are the Yachts actually in this, and how much do they want to make this more of a collaboration?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Well, first of all, the whole initiative comes from SYBAS, which is an association of 25 of the largest shipyards. I don't know where you are today, but the chance is quite big that they are part of SYBAS. That does not mean that every individual shipyard has signed up for this. It's being presented in their members meeting, I think 3 times now, from the early initiative and the steps that we've done in the meantime. Not all the shipyards were involved in developing the training program. Of course, you can't do that with 25 different organizations, but there were Italian shipyards and German shipyards, Dutch shipyards involved. I can't say that. The other thing is that we see is that in course number 1, and Martin can also maybe say something about that, that some of the shipyards actually send their own people to this course to make them understand how it works and to help them to better communicate with owners' representatives. I can't say that is true for every shipyard. But in your case, maybe you should contact me, not here, but separately. Then maybe we can have a talk with that shipyard to see if that we make them at least aware of the program. We make them aware of the responsibilities of the owners rep as we've defined that. They should know it, but maybe the wrong person knows it. And what it takes to play that role. So I can't say that every shipyard has done the course because they didn't. So, but it's certainly an initiative from the ship. The shipyards have a very big benefit from a good owner's rep.
Yeah,
I've just come from Benetti in Livorno. Sorry, Marley, just to let you know, I've just come from Benetti in Livorno. We've had another great week there. That's the second time we've run a course there. Again, they have put a number of their yacht managers on the program, and the buy-in is super, super high from them.
Yeah. What we can
ultimately it works both ways. Like it's good for both sides that both sides have good people. Makes it all more efficient, makes it all more smooth. And ultimately what we want, all of us, is to deliver a good product for the owner in time, so that they're happy and buy another boat.
And I think, hopefully Jack might back me up on this, but when you have captains, existing owners representatives on the program sat in the same room as yacht managers from the shipyards, the level of learning from each other and getting to understand how each other operates and what each other's demands and needs are was an exceptionally beneficial part of the learning experience.
Yeah, Marlies, give me a sign. We will do a little small program for the shipyard, I see.
I was also wondering, is there a list of which shipyards have been involved or have been positively doing stuff with the program?
Well, I think we can make a list, but in principle, every SYBAS member has given their support to the program. Some people delivered material for the course, like drawings or schedules or whatever. Some shipyards were sitting in the committee. Others did other things. So I don't have a list available, but certainly if you find any resistance or whatever with any of the SYBAS members, but even also outside, then I think we should know that, and then we can help them to understand what we're trying to achieve and what their benefits is because it's all about collaboration. Nobody can build a boat on his own.
No, exactly.
It's a huge effort with a lot of different people involved, and we see that the owners rep plays a very pivotal role in that to make it work. And so we strongly believe that there needs to be a good support to the position of owners rep, so that that person can play a proper role, and it will benefit the owner first and for all, but also the shipyard and all the other people involved. And we want to promote that gospel throughout the whole industry. Yeah.
Thanks, Hein.
I think it's remembering that SYBAS was the driving force behind this whole program, and that's where we started from. I know, Andrew, you wanted to have a chat about some of the programs that that you're offering, you're doing units 41, 42, 43. And I think if we start with you and then maybe go on to Martin, because I know you've got to go. But
Thanks, Jerry.
did you want to have a chat about what progress there is and how, you know, what the benefits are? And I know there was a question about course pricing just now as well in the chat.
So no problem. Thanks, Joey. Thanks. Great question, Marlies. So we are delivering, well, firstly, thank you all for turning up, the 30 of you. We've got 30 wonderful yacht crew, of which 9 of you have already done your program with us. I recognize lots of faces. So you're obviously here to figure out, you know, when to join the registry. As Heinz said, there's 25 spaces for the forum. The forum's been taken over from Martin Redmond this year. There's an amazing panel with people like Joey setting content for this year's speakers and breakouts. So I think that forum is going to be an amazing session this year. So we deliver 41, 42, 43, 3 of 4 parts of the Yacht Owner Rep program. We delivered the first cohort last year. It was a real test for both us, our lecturers, and our cohort. And we're always very honest when we fall short of the mark. We did fall short of the mark for our first program. And we brought a lot of the cohort back for our second program, and it ended up being a great success, of which 9 of you here today were on that program. And we went through 12 weeks with 10 lecturers, 2 big facilitators, and we met twice a week. And we did around 55, 60 hours of live sessions. And we had an amazing group. We had chief engineers, owner reps, a couple of shipyard individuals, captains, pursers, build captains, etc. So there was and yacht managers actually. So there was a very diverse group of forward-thinking, open-minded individuals on that program. And as Martin so eloquently put it, when you put a great group of yachties and yacht professionals in a room, they tend to have really good discussions. So we went through that 12-week program, and it was a great success. And as of today, I think we've graduated 31 yacht owner reps through 41, 42, 43. We're running our next program in autumn, 30th of September. So once Monaco show finishes, we kick off with our winter program. The fees are £6,500. If you have turned up today, there is a small discount, which we will let you know, and we'll send you all the relevant documents. We'd like to normally follow either before or after Martin and LH's program. As Joey and Hein put, it is core to learn the leadership and the management part of this program. So Martin, I think you've got an online program starting in September before R1, possibly back to back. So
yeah, so the by request, we've run 2 in-person 4-day programs for Unit 40, and within that there are 3 topics. The middle topic is all about leadership, and I guess that's the key one in terms of developing teams, building teams, developing relationships, managing relationships, and you know, doing giving people the skills to ensure the process from the dream to the yacht sails away with happy owners, served by a wonderful crew. It's the key skills to make sure that the whole thing runs smoothly. We have the 3 offers per year. The next one, the face-to-face, is in October, and there will be a online opportunity in September, Tuesdays and Thursdays throughout September, where we'll be covering the same program.
Thanks, Martin. Just to walk through the 3 parts that we deliver, there are operational, managerial, technical lectures. There are so 1 a week. We do a single live lecture every week, and then we do a class once a week to discuss the topic that we've been through. There's a very active forum, and there's a huge amount of content. and other recordings on the platform, about 140 hours of work there on top of the normal live work that we would expect to see you at. As I said, we've just had, I think, 31 graduates to date, and we've got a nice cohort forming at the moment for September. So we will drop all of you that haven't already graduated an email tomorrow, just with some details and outlines of Martin's program, our program, follow up with details about registering with Hein and Joey on the registry and the process there. And hopefully between us all, by September, October, and the forum in November, Hein, we will have 60 plus owner reps qualified and at the forum. That would be our main aim this year. So
Yep.
well, I'm going to have to duck out because I've got to deliver a lecture in 4 minutes. So I'll leave you in the very capable hands of Sam Watson. Sam, over to you. Thanks everyone for turning up, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Andrew. I just wanted to very quickly, I think there was a message in the chat there from Ralph. I just wanted to have that one if I could.
I've got it here, Jerry. It's is it regulated? Which professional institution would it fall under country-wise, perhaps, if I may have missed the discussion?
It's a very good question, and I think we did cover it briefly at the very beginning when I was talking about the purpose of the professionalizing the industry and how the owner rep program came about, which was obviously, as we discussed before, through SYBAS's intent. This is an industry-led program, and it's not an unusual thing for industries to have their own internal led training, education requirements, regulations. So this is an industry-led. If we start going into any sort of regulator, we're going to have limitations on delivery, on potentially nationalities and our operational areas. So we get a very sticky path if we start going into various countries or into various flags or regulators in that sense. I've personally worked with MCA UK regulators for over 30 plus years. And I know how difficult it is to create training, which is why GUEST exists. GUEST is specifically yacht industry-led training. We don't want the regulators to get their hands on it. It becomes very difficult to update, to change, and also to mandate in different countries. So yeah, basically to answer the question, Ralph, I hope I've done that well enough. Which professional institution? IAMI is the International Association of Maritime Institutions. We are representing maritime educators worldwide. And not just working with MCA, we work with other flag states as well for their qualification routes. So we are the accrediting body for the training that's delivered. So the training schools that deliver the training come under our auditing process for that accreditation. The ongoing monitoring of the courses is done within a committee that includes the SYBAS members, and obviously Hein is a massive part of that. So yes, it's an industry-led initiative, and it's industry-led controlled. Yeah. Does that answer the question? I hope.
Thanks, Jerry. Christian, I think he joined the webinar a little later, and I know we've already covered this question, but is completing the 4 modules of the YORP mandatory as part of the acceptance program, regardless of experience?
No, that is, I think I touched on that before, Christian, but no, completing the 4 modules leads to the full program. So that means you've completed the full YORP program, the Yacht Owner Representative program, which entitles you to go onto the register as somebody that's completed the training. But we are not undervaluing at all. In fact, quite the opposite. We want to support those that have extensive experience as owner reps. It's a matter of evidencing that through the register application process, and that gets verified. So there's no requirement for you to have to complete the 4 modules, but we have suggested that the module 1, course 1, which is the leadership part, is going to be a requirement for all members of the register. Whether they complete that prior to attending the register or not, it depends on their experience, but it will be something we'll be asking everybody to do, as we do with any leadership training. And anyone, I'm sure in fact, I know there are people in the room here that have done leadership training. You know, it's not something you do a course and you walk away a leader. It's perpetual growth, it's perpetual reminders and upskilling. So it's something we believe very strongly needs to be in place for that role.
Jack, you've got your hand up there with a question.
You're on mute, Jack.
Sorry. Yeah. Just following on for that, Joey. The grandfather scheme, completely agree with, due to obviously my previous comment about, you know, great captains, engineers, even interior staff. It could be, you know, some great owners reps. But with that, what about just a general assessment of the further 3 courses from the Crew Academy? It's just for, you know, it's like someone that's been at sea for many years, but you wouldn't throw them straight as captain. It's just an idea.
Yeah, no, I think, and probably and possibly something the committee may decide to put in place. But no, we have talked about prior assessment before the register as part of the application. But again, I think it's evidence enough when we see the yachts, the kind of yachts that new builds that individuals being part of, what active role they played within that new build role as the owner representative in their perception of that, because obviously we've identified that collectively within the course. And when you saw Hein's amazing, I call it his spaghetti diagram, you can see that that's where we sit, and that's how we recognize an owner rep within the context of this program. So yes, we will be looking at that, but not a bad idea, but something the committee needs to decide. Yeah,
it was just for the people within the general register moving forward. I mean, you know, myself that's nearly had 20 years at sea, you know, owners representation, new builds, same, you'll also have owners reps. And you know, in the cohort that we had you know, MDs of companies and stuff like that. It's just for me to understand, that's all.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
There's a question from Bas. You're still
On mute.
You're on mute, Bas.
All right. How's this? Is this better? Thank you.
We have you.
I just have a question. So you're talking about being professional, and I really, really like that. However, I did not have the best professional start with course 1, unfortunately. So 2 weeks before the course was supposed to start in March, it got cancelled, and we are all very, very busy people who plan ahead far away. So, and even looking at the website now, I see September online sessions, I see October to be confirmed, and then November. So I'm struggling to get all my 4 courses complete now to actually get into this registry. I looked through the brochure as well. Yeah, I am a little bit disappointed, to be honest. I'm really wondering and was hoping to learn more about how, yeah, this is going to be more professional and how this is going to be structured.
Martin, can you say something about course number 1, why that was cancelled last minute, and
It was cancelled due to number who signed up for it, and nothing more complicated than that, Baz. You know, I can only you know, we tried to hold it open as long as we could to make it a viable course, but we just didn't have the sign up for it.
I think one of the problems, and this is why course number 1 is now going to go online, is I think the biggest issue we're finding, and I'm sure you'll all agree on this, is having the time to take out. And Baz, obviously, on behalf of what, you know, the experience that you've had with that, we have to apologize. But this, I think, was potentially one of the beta courses that we started with. So I think we're only into course 3 or 4 now. So it's a new thing. Sign-ups when you're having a classroom-based training course is always based on having enough people to make that viable, and it's not necessarily financially viable, it's actually viable for the student as well. When you're running a training course, particularly this, you need that interaction with other members of, you know, within an environment. So the course 1, Martin, I know you guys are working hard to get that online, and I think the reason we're doing that is exactly this, Baz. We are finding it very difficult for people to commit, not just to fly somewhere, to stay somewhere, but also to have that whole week off. And there's a lot of people that book and then cancel. So it kind of seems to work both ways with some of the training when it's in classroom training. So yeah, that is going online soon.
But Martin,
Yeah,
So-
I can only apologise about that, Baz. You know, we did have a viable course at one point, and then at the last minute we had significant numbers withdrawn and can be deferred to a later time. So unfortunately,
So for my own planning ahead, this course is going to be online, so I don't expect to take leave of work or plan to get this course finished because I have to attend at the shipyard, as it still says in the brochure, etc. Yeah, then at least I know that for the future and to get that all sorted, it's for me it's important.
yeah, understood.
yeah, it's also for us a learning process to see. We were hoping that people would come in big numbers to those in-person meetings to the shipyard. But apparently we learned that most people nowadays.
Perfect. Thank you for your explanation, and thank you so much for hosting this webinar, because it does explain a lot and I really appreciate all efforts, and I'm still a very big fan of this whole program and really want to support it all. So thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Bas.
Baz.
Any other questions?
I don't see any further questions in the chat box if anyone wants to raise their hand.
I think most people already left. I think
I think we've gone over time, so that shows that it's either been interesting enough for everybody else to stay. So thank you, and obviously a lot for us to talk about. So that's a good thing. So yeah, thank you very much, everybody. I'll let Hein have the last word, but from my point, I'd just like to say thank you very much to LH and the Crew Academy, and particularly Maya and the Crew Academy for setting this up and facilitating it with Andrew and Sam. And yeah, so from me, thank you, Hein.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Anybody who wants to sign up, I hope the information is there. But if you want to sign up, then please send an email to info@superyachtalliance.org, and then you will receive all the forms, and we get the process started. I'm looking forward to see 25 people then in person in Amsterdam in November.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good to see everyone.
Ciao, ciao. Bye.